Hey, this is Sayam Bhutani, and you're listening to Chai Time Data Science, a podcast for data science enthusiasts where I interview practitioners, researchers, and cagglers about their journey, experience, and talk all things about data science. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chai Time Data Science Show. In this episode, I interview my colleague Parul Pandey, data evangelist at S2O.ai, and we talk all about what her role as a data evangelist means and her work at S2O. I've been a fan of her blog posts, and I ask her all about her secrets to blogging on this episode, along with all of the amazing things that she's been contributing to, including meetups, evangelizing, or sharing amazing things on LinkedIn and Twitter. We discuss all about her journey into the field, her advices to future aspirants, and we talk about a very important theme that I'm I'm guilty of not discussing as much on this episode. I recognize that not a large number of my guests are women. Parul is a great contributor to the women in data science community, and we also discuss about that and how can others who recognize the community contribute towards it. Personally, I've learned a lot from Parul's work, and I'm really excited to be sharing it with you. I hope you enjoy the interview as much as I did. Without further ado, with a quick reminder to the non-native English speakers, please remember to enable the subtitles on YouTube. The subtitles have been checked manually and re-uploaded to help your watching experience. And with that, here's my interview with Parul Pandey. Please enjoy the show. Hi everyone, I am really excited to be talking to my colleague and a great content creator from S2O.ai today. Parul, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
It's an absolute pleasure to be on your podcast, and thanks a lot for having me.
I've learned a lot through your blog posts, reading them or even pinging you every day, asking for advice. So I'm really excited to be talking to you. I want to start by talking about your background. You, I believe, studied electrical engineering, and after that, you started working in the analytics sector. Where did data science? Did you always have a passion for data science? I guess it wasn't called data science back in the day. When did that come into the picture for you?
Yeah, so I'm an electrical engineer, and after I completed my graduation, I started working for a power distribution company.
Okay.
So that's called Tata Power, and so these are one of those core electrical companies where you actually put all your concepts of voltage, current, everything that. But I was not in that. So I was in the analytics department where our work was actually to work on the data that was being collected.
Okay.
And so that kind of is pretty similar to what people are doing today also. But yes, as you said, it wasn't called data science then. So we were analysts. And we used to get this whole set of data and, this dirty data. And then you had to actually analyze and, we had to kind of predict how much the load will go in after 2 years or 3 years. And like, we've got to prepare it that way. So there should not be load shed-offs. And so because these departments, so I was working for a public utility and they kind of come under a lot of scrutiny from the government because it's it has a lot of ramifications. So in summers your electricity shouldn't be going out and you have this constant pressure from the government also, and if the elections are coming the scenario is really, really bad. So I got to actually work in a very realistic kind of an environment, and so data was always a part of my life. And it just has continued. I'm not with that company, but the lot of basics that I've learned there, I'm just still using them.
You're already doing model prediction before it was a common word.
It's just that the tools were different. Some of them with their own proprietary tools and some are paid tools. So I guess only the tools are different now. Skill set probably is actually the same, and it's just that maybe I've learned even more things. But a lot of people always ask me, so you've switched from electrical to data science. Tell us also how much time it took, 6 months, 1 year. And then I say, see, it's not that way. So it's not that I was always connected to data. So for me, it's not something different. But a lot of people think, if I switch from electrical to data science, so just give us a window, maybe 6 months was enough. So that's a very weird question that I get asked most of the time.
I think, and like you said, it's also a constant process. You evolve into this field. It's not a direct transition. You
Yes.
don't click a switch and you become a data scientist. It takes time. It takes a lot of skills, a lot of things to learn.
Yeah, a lot of hard work also, and then constantly working on a problem. You might not find the solution at once, and then you have to keep working. You have to look out for solutions. You might talk to people, search in forums. So it's a complete process, I think. And only if you're ready to devote such a lot of time and energy, and only then you should venture out in this field. Otherwise, you should not like, it's not something that you do a degree or a course or a certification and you'll instantly, just like just switch into a data scientist.
You don't become
That
a
won't
doctor,
happen.
like you don't
Yes,
become a data
it's similar
scientist
to
with a degree.
everything. For becoming a doctor, you require years and years of practice. You just can't go and operate on a body. So it's the same thing with this field also. You ought to like maths. So if you literally hate maths and stats and the computers and coding, so then I don't think it's even worth for you to invest such a lot of energy into this.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you get asked all of these questions via the community. Were you always involved with the community since college? When did that passion spark for you?
So I was very active in my school and college life, very, very active. I used to take part in we had a lot of clubs, technical clubs and all. But that kind of actually vanished when I started my job because I got so pulled into it. And then it used to revolve around that. And then, as I told you, things are pretty different what it is today. So because of the internet and everything, and you have a lot of meetups concept that has come today. It wasn't so that time. There were no concept of meetups or clubs and things like that. So even if I wanted to share my knowledge and all, I know most of the people were on Facebook that time, and even before. So today you see people actually make use of Facebook also to actually tell there's this new meetup coming up and this is this material. So that way there has been a lot of shift. So but then also I actually got so much involved in my work life and was trying to maintain a balance. So I was actually out of it, but I always liked it. So now when I've got a chance, I'm just making the full use of it.
Okay. And I think, not to speak negatively, but the internet boom, so to speak, happened in India just recently when Jio, a service provider, came along and cut down the prices. Before that, it was, even though I just looked up, Meetup was founded in 2002, it wasn't that big.
So when we started with the internet, so I'm from the generation that we started from the dial-up connection, and then this lower speed where you had data packs and stuff like that. So today we were the downloading generation. Okay, we used to download videos, we used to download terabytes of like episodes of Friends and all. And today we've gone into a streaming nation. We stream everything from songs to videos to like Netflix and Amazon Prime. So we've seen that shift going, and that has actually helped in a lot of things. So we have access to online courses, we can actually do them. And so that's a very positive thing. And if we use it in a very correct manner, I think then it is actually very helpful, especially for people who are in college right now.
Yeah, and
if they don't get distracted.
For sure. And the technology also helps you market it right. Like Meetup, if you join a group, you'll see the meetups. If you're in a region, the Meetup app will show you notifications. And if you just put in your interest of data science and whatnot, you can take the transition slowly over a few years by just going to the meetups and meeting people like you, hopefully in Hyderabad, or if you do it in another city.
Yes. So I tell a lot of people, so when they come for meetups, one of the important takeaway from meetups should be networking. So you just cannot study everything in that 1 hour meetup or 2 hour meetup. Obviously, you'll have to just go back and study. But what you can create is networks. You can create networks, you can build up a team and participate in hackathons and competitions. So that should be the emphasis of meetups and all. Go create your network because that really helps in such fields. Unfortunately, some people, they think meetups are only meant, like you should tell them everything and you should give them all materials and that is it. So that is not the main, maybe the idea of meetup is not, it's just meeting place where people with same ideas and ideologies, they come together. And then, so for me, it happened, I went to a meetup, I met some few other women, and then we founded Women MLDS group. So for us, it was just that I did not know those people before that, and I met them in a meetup, and then the thing started. We thought, let's just have a group, let's just start, and that way it happened. So this is something that I always tell people.
I think, and I have had Ines Montani on the show, and that's literally how Spacey was created. They met at not even a networking event. She and her co-founder met somewhere. They talked to each other. They really liked their interests, and it led to the creation of Spacey and all other things that they are doing. And if you not really go with the mindset that you actually want to achieve anything, but if you go with an open mindset to a meetup, I think that's one good approach. Any other things that you think are great when you're at a meetup? What mindset should one go with?
Yeah. So firstly, you should be like open to what people are going to present, and should not be very critical. Even if you know something and you're in a meetup, so there's a person who's kind of presenting it. It's really hard. So public speaking is actually hard. And even if you are a very experienced person, you still have those butterflies, okay, when you have to speak in front of people.
True.
So you should firstly encourage those people, and that they've come out, they've taken time to prepare this material for you, and they're actually speaking. And then you should be able to give some feedback, some constructive feedback. Don't just try to tell the person, like, oh God, I just wasted my time coming here. That is for you to decide actually. And then you should also, your aim should be, so after attending few meetups, you should also volunteer to actually give presentations and all. Because these are great forums actually to develop your interpersonal skills and communication skills, which are also an essential part to become a data scientist.
True.
You should be able to express what is your predictions, what was your hypothesis, why you're thinking this is going to be important, that is going to be important. So these are great. So you might not get the chance in your company. Not always, okay? And you might not even get the chance when you're in your college or something. So make use of these platforms that have been made available, and it's just free. People are just asking you to come and network and have pizzas and go. So just be open and just see what suits you. Now, I see a lot of people, they make it a point to go to every meetup. So that is also not required. Just make sure how much you can take in, what is your interest. So maybe there's a person who's just a beginner and he's going to every deep learning meetup and every high level meetup. So he should search for meetups which suits him.
Yep.
Beginners kind, maybe. So that then the real essence of all these, they can be actually kind of measured. Otherwise, it'll be just going for the sake of it, and you're wasting your 2 or 3 hours on a weekend on that.
I think, and that's one of the hacks around networking. Also, if you go and speak at an event, people will come to you by default if you want to just meet people.
Yeah, exactly. Because people really respect, at least I respect people who go on the stage and speak, because I know it requires a lot of courage. And it takes a lot of time to get used to the fact that, all the eyes are looking at you. So you should always go out and speak and try to speak, and then just get out of this fear, because a lot of people are very talented, but unfortunately they cannot just express themselves, or when they go on the stage they get nervous. So this is what they should use. Go to the meetup, see how people speak, and then maybe you can take some points, what are the good points and bad points, and next time volunteer, like, okay, I like to present something on this. So not only that makes your concept clear, because I've seen a lot of answers. You have a lot of questions get answered when you're speaking over there, then you just say, oh my God, I just answered and I had this doubt in my mind for so long. And then then start with some few little conferences, then go to some national level conference. Then that way you should build maybe the path.
And again, like you mentioned, going up the levels, even if you prepare for a local meetup, prepare as if you're speaking at the best conference. Don't discriminate, and that's the best way to go about learning, in my opinion.
Yes. So you just have to put in your proposal, and if it's good one and if they feel you are worth it, you'll get a chance. I've seen so many first-time speakers are in some conferences, and it's just great. And it's also great because this also gives a lot of freshness to the conference instead of seeing the same face again and again every year.
Yeah. And secondly, you mentioned that it's also about being able to express these things, and people feel like it's only for the business facing roles. I don't think that's true. Even speaking of something internally, we have a lot of teams at S2, and even if someone is working on us, let's say a stack, and another person still on the
Yeah,
data
data
science
science.
team, they don't usually speak the same language. They might be working on different frameworks, and you need to be able to communicate that internally as well, not just to the
Yes,
business people.
you have to even explain certain things to your manager also sometimes.
Yeah.
And this is a skill that is required in every phase of your life, actually. You might require and then so there are different teams. You have to convince different teams. You have to sometimes ask for help from other teams. You have to explain them your problem and what kind of help you want. So all these things, I think these are just so data scientist, and I think every role in industry today is dependent on a lot of other people. You cannot work in silos today, and for that being able to express things it's very, very, I think, vital.
Very true. Now, coming to another aspect where you spreading awareness about everything data, how did the switch for evangelism start for you? Did again that have passion trailing back to your earlier days? How was that? How did that switch happen?
So yeah, so I think that was pretty natural because since I was writing and I was pretty active on LinkedIn also. So I actually did not think that I would go into a role. I was like doing what I was doing. I was writing and everything. But then H2O happened, and I just felt that, like that kind of role was just created for me. So everything just fell in place because I feel very nice when I tell people about the product, about H2OI's product, whether it's H2O3 or Tribal SAI. And I kind of act a bridge between my company and the people. So a lot of meetups which I conduct, and when I tell these people how do you use it, and so that is kind of whole idea. So because so for evangelists, there's one very important thing that has to be there is the person should actually believe in the products.
Yep.
So it's like a lot of people, they feel, okay, could you just write about our product? Could you write about this product? That doesn't happen actually. You should believe in a product. You should believe in the people for creating the product. And this actually happened with H2O. So with a lot of learning, and I see how people work on things, how people work on platforms and all the thought process. And so now when I went into the company and so everything happening, so then I feel, oh my God, yes, this is just the role for me. And so now I kind of spread all the information about H2O's resources and products to people and try them to actually come and try them, use them, and get their feedbacks on them. So it was pretty natural because earlier I was writing about a whole lot of things on data science, and now this is another thing that has added to that, even though I still write on data science concepts also. And this is additionally that I'm doing now.
And I think this again traces back to your advice of you were actually passionate about the field. You weren't looking to become a data scientist. You weren't looking for this role. You were just doing it out of passion. And then you made the switch to H2, where you still continuing to do it. So it's not that you were just
Yeah.
seeking this role.
So it's like, so now it is like, a lot of people would say this is a cliche statement, but it's just like, if you love what you're doing, that you will not have to work a single. So it's happened with me. And that is what I advise people also. I say, whatever you do, start with a lot of passion and a lot of commitment and hard work also, and then things will come to you. So a lot of people, we want a job. We want a job as a data scientist. We want a job. We want to get out of a current role. There's no mantra for it actually. So you have to project yourself outside, you have to get in touch with good people. You have to project yourself. What are your strengths? You have to put forward, because this is what happens. How would the person know somewhere that you exist? So that is, you have to do something special. You have to do. So if you like writing, do that. If you like making YouTube videos, you do that. Strengthen your GitHub profile, participate in hackathons, Kaggle. I mean, all these things, they're all free. They're providing you data. So a lot of people ask me, we want a data set. Where can we find data sets? Now, if you've not about Kaggle, have not Kaggle, you're not there. I don't know where are you headed towards. So a lot of people are scared of taking part in competitions. On Kaggle, they say, we're not there. So I said, don't go for competitions then. See a competition, you have the data, create some notebook, see what others are doing and see why they are doing this. So you have to actually decide what you want to do. Just becoming a data scientist, that's not something. So why people want to become data scientists? Because they want to get away from their existing role. That they have been in that role for quite some time. They just want to switch. And they take my example. They'll say, she was an electrical engineer. She took a break for 2-3 years. Now she's in H2I. So how did this happen? So then this is something very weird. Even I can't answer that. What people see is what is written on my LinkedIn profile. But what I always say is to create content, to write. It's not about, so an article may take some 10 minutes to write, but sometimes it's a work of 10 years behind that. And
very true.
This starts from your background, like your schools and your colleges and all these things. So I always tell them that whatever your strength is, that try adding on that. If you've been working for 10 years in a company, try to use data science in that context. Try to use your experience. Don't just want to switch off and then trying for a fresher's job. That would not get you anywhere.
Yeah. Again, it's about the people who, and since data science is booming, people look at it. But if you look at any job, it is difficult. It's not that easy. You need to learn a lot. You need to learn the concepts. You need to study everything. It's not just data science. You can't switch into literally any job in 3 months. Leave data science alone.
Yes. So if you want to become a doctor today, I cannot become a doctor today. And it is something similar to, and the best part of data sciences is just the art of like using data to come to conclusions. And if you're in your existing data, start finding some data sets and start seeing how you can apply. So how you can use that data to bring out something good. And data is everywhere today. So don't think that I have to go to some specific AI-based company or a startup. Don't see that way. Start using data in your current company. Try talking to your management. See if there is some similar role there. Try switching into that role first. Because domain experience, as we also know, so driverless AI today is used by a lot of different companies. And we also know domain knowledge is so important in that. And these guys have domain knowledge. Like they've been working in this company for 7-8 years. So they should try to cash on it.
Yeah. Now you described a lot of things, and the title data evangelist now is even more confusing. I feel like for the audience. Can you please make it a more defined term? What does a day in your life look like? What tasks? I know they vary a lot internally. I know that, but what tasks do you work on during a typical week?
So the best part of being a data evangelist is you can decide your entire thing yourself. And it's just, you have to find ways how you can just make people aware of the product. If you are evangelizing the product, and you can evangelize almost anything. So I contribute. So the best part of working at H2O is you can, there's no limit to, if you want to work in different specific domains, you can do that. But if you want to learn something others, everybody is helpful and everybody is open to it. So initially, when I was came to H2O, I used to write on specific related products and use cases, which I do today also. Data set, and I run it through driverless and see how I use driverless AI for different aspects. So for instance, how you can use driverless AI for sentiment analysis or recommender systems. And then I convert them in blogs so that, it's there on the site for people to see. Apart from that, you can do almost anything. For instance, I also contributed a recipe. So when we came with the custom recipe module. So apart from that, we also organize meetups. and where people come and we give them a hands-on session how to do that. I also write tutorials for the specific use cases. So if there are companies or anybody who wants to use Tribal SAI, so there are some great set of tutorials. So I also contribute to that. Apart from that, also, I can almost go into anything if I want. Nobody says no. So it's like you have to, for me, it's experiencing everything new that is here. And plus Kaggle also, you can do Kaggle
Yeah.
also. So I think it's so much over there for you. You just have to manage your time. And and it's not something that it's fixed here. You could do evangelism. You could also work on the product. You could work with the engineering team. You could work with the marketing team. So as evangelists, we kind of act as a bridge between the product and the people,
Yeah.
and try to make it as accessible as possible.
I think that's also part of the makers gonna make, the maker culture,
Yeah,
the maker philosophy, and it might not resonate with a lot of other people at other companies for sure.
because I guess most of people have this fixed roles and they kind of put like boundaries around you. Like if you are in this role, you cannot go to this role. But in H2, I think everybody is doing almost everything. And uh, they also marketing their product. They're working with the clients. They're also on the engineering team. So it's kind of a great learning process here.
And I can at least say that everyone around is just smart and very, very knowledgeable, best of the best, absolute best
And so
of the
it's a
field.
great opportunity for me to actually learn and grow and how people work. And that's also, so that is so I have my role, but this is kind of a bonus that I get.
You get to, and I definitely resonate with that. You get to follow your passion, you get to learn, and it's a job that you're doing, surprisingly, where you're doing both of
So
these
I
things.
wasn't actually, so to be honest, I wasn't actually, so I was very happy. I was working when I was working on my own. So I used to write for some publications, like I used to write for KD Nuggets. I wrote for Data Camp also, and some other international publications, and I was pretty happy. But when H2O happened, it's just that their role just resonated with me. And so I still feel maybe I won't be working if it wasn't for H2I, because the kind of, so for a person like me who wants to write and explore things, you require some level of freedom. And otherwise those ideas, they don't come up. And if somebody tells me write this way and you should include this also, and you should include, I cannot write that way. I need
Yeah.
that sense of freedom to actually express my ideas. And so for me, I have very few options to work for. And so H2O, just like by chance, it's just it was this perfect thing that happened. And it's going to be like 8 months now, and it's been a wonderful experience.
I definitely resonate with your experience there, and I've been a huge fan of your blogs. I'd be curious to know what's the pipeline for you, because it's like you said, it's a non-linear return. You spend a lot of time reading about something, and people might look at a 350 word blog. Many people do that, but it might have taken a long time, and the ability to condense it into a blog, not over market it, and yet keep it readable enough is a big challenge in itself.
It is actually, the fact that some of the people, they simply judge your work by just seeing those 350 words or 500, sometimes very disheartening. A lot of people, they approach you to do ghost writing. So initially when I was writing, and I used to feel really bad, so people said, what will pay you, but you have to write with our name. So I had such, obviously I did not do this, but the thing that makes me sad is, okay, I was in a situation that maybe I just not didn't need that job, but there are some very talented people who actually write for others. And so writers should be given respect. and and I think research, oh my God, research takes such a long time. And then you have to also think that what I'm presenting should be little new. So there are a lot of things to keep in mind. So initially, you always feel more and more people should follow you, because that is kind of motivating. But then you also have to keep in mind that the thing that you produce, the write up or something, should also have some value. So it shouldn't be some clickbait articles, so I see a lot of articles, they have this interesting headlines, and when you read them, it's nothing.
AI,
And
AI
so
everywhere.
it has to be a balance between them. You have to, and then you also have to see what is your audience. So for me, I knew a lot of beginners were there who used to follow my blog. And so these people they get really confused when they see a lot of articles on internet, and they just want one article which can actually give them, they don't have to go to a lot of articles because it takes time. So I saw them that, they were coming again and again to my blog and reading them. So then I thought, because this is my target audience, most helps me to also learn, because I learn and then I write, and then maybe other people also read it and they also learn, and then they also start writing. So, and then, yes, claps and views matter, but then I don't go much into it, because then you start losing, because you start writing for others, because what others like. And I always wanted to write what I want to write, because that is why I started writing. So I don't go much into it, because seeing if I'm getting a good, because any article, sometimes it happens that one article that goes viral is the one in which you put the least amount of effort, and in the
True.
one you thought this is going to be great, it didn't get such a good response. So I also left it, just like you said, because I take feedback from people, but then I try to put in what I feel will be good.
Also, when you are broadcasting to, I know you're broadcasting to millions of people, but someone who's broadcasting to thousands, the feedback is very less. It's literally
Yes.
tens of hundreds of people that bother to write back to you, even though you could really use that feedback.
Yeah, because it does happen. It's all about, see, follows. It takes time for the followership to build up, actually. But before that, also you have to content. You have to take, so what you think should be the best, and what is the thing that you can put your expertise into. Because I used to get a lot of requests. Why don't you write on this? Why don't you write on this? So I said, I cannot write on this. I don't have expertise. Why should I venture into something which I know I'm not confident about? So I used to suggest him, what you should go, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel. If there are some good blog posts already there, I used to point them to those people. So I said, you should go and read those. Why should I do the same thing again and again? And also, I think I'm not the right person to write on that topic. But what I'm writing, I know I'm confident about it. If you've got questions about this, you can ask me. So I maintained that. You do get bricks in maths, okay? You get negative also, but then that's a part and parcel of this job.
For sure.
So, but this has helped me to take criticism also. During my initial months, I used to really get very sad with the negative comments, and used to keep thinking about them. But then slowly and gradually, I kind of, started overcoming it. If I felt this genuinely made some sense, I would take it. And otherwise, there's some people who are always negative, and
True.
you can't help that. So you can't let that affect your psychology. So then kind of now I think, so writing has actually also helped me like become maybe a stronger person, because otherwise I was a person who used to get anxious when people used to post comments and bad things and all. Now I think I started overcoming that.
Awesome. What does I know at SU there's no direct targets that you need to complete, but let's say you get excited about a topic and you decide to write about it. What does the pipeline look like? How do you go about it?
So what I initially usually do is I'll be seeing some. So maybe in the Slack channel, I see there's a lot of talk going about this new release or this new maybe recipe or thing. So then I contact the person who's actually involved with it, and then I say if they'll be interested to actually work on. Then I have kind of few meetings with them, and then I make a plan, and then I forward them. We should write on this. So there's this recommendation systems recipe was coming up, and that was being done by Rohan. And so I just read it somewhere, and then I contacted him. I said, "Will you be interested to work on this?" And he said, "Yes, definitely." And so that way, then we worked together, and then we also the article was sent to some other people also, like SRK and Mark, to give their feedback. And then when we think, okay, this is the perfect, and then we release it. So that is what I do when I find this icon and I feel that it'd be worth writing on it, and then I approach that person or the team that's working on it.
Awesome. Now there's another aspect to it also. You put in a lot of effort. How to market your blogs to the audience? How to make sure that it gets to the right audience? And I know the numbers aren't very important to you, but it also needs to get across. How do you not over market and yet ensure that it gets across?
So this is the philosophy that I've always followed on LinkedIn. So whenever I post, so initially I used to use LinkedIn to post. So whenever I used to write an article on Medium, then I used to post it on Medium on LinkedIn also. But I always try to see this is this article and it deals with this. I never write like this, oh my God, I'm bringing out my article. So I always stayed away from that. And fortunately, now I have such a following on LinkedIn uh, that I don't need to over market that way, because now people, they feel that whatever I post, it does make sense. So gradually over such a long time, I have reached that. But initially, honestly, I used to just write my article. I used to write, look, for instance, if it was on sentiment analysis, I would write, I've written an article on sentiment analysis and it deals with this, and then they used to read it themselves. So I never made a point to, actually kind of go over the top with this, like, this is the only article and this is the best article that you should read. So I used to simply write, say, I've written this article, and people did started going. They used to read the article, and hence my LinkedIn thing started increasing when people said, okay, we read her article, we found it good. And but yes, I never over market stuff, because personally I don't like it, and I also don't like the people who do it. Because things should be left open to people, and it is for them to actually decide if they feel that if you are writing something, whether it is worth it or not. And then maybe it takes time. So my LinkedIn followership has gone to that level that it does get few eyeballs, maybe decent enough. So that is something that I've achieved over the time. So now that is helping me.
I think that also speaks to a true authorship and the power of the internet. If you are really putting out good content, the internet rewards you exponentially, maybe with a little time.
It does actually. And then I also, so it was not that I only posted only my stuff. If I found some other blog post also good, I also go and post that stuff. Because I think it's about, you should encourage other people also. If they're writing good things, and if people don't know about them, then it's good to let other people know. So it's not just only me, and I am the only one, I should only write about myself. So that should not be the case. I mentioned about other blogs or some other cool stuff, and there are people, then they kind of, they say, so thank you for doing that, because they're not, so most of them are not on LinkedIn also sometimes. So then they've joined LinkedIn, and they say, so it's a good platform, and you've introduced us to this also. We're missing out on this audience. So then you feel very happy, like you've also contributed somewhere in somebody else's journey. Because there have been a lot of people who've supported me also. So I really feel happy if I can actually do something for others also now.
I'm sorry, I don't have a real award, but please accept a virtual Chai Time Data Science Award for your achievement. LinkedIn named you as one of the top voices on it. Did you expect it? Do you have a acceptance speech?
No. So just like now, you must have assessed from what I've been talking. Uh, Everything just went. So I was just working, but I did put in a lot of hard work for everything that I did. I kind of reinvented myself from scratch. So I had to actually do something. Even though I used to write, I never put out my work in public, because I always felt who's going to read my work, because there are already such great people who are writing. But I was wrong, and this is what I tell everybody, that you should not think like that. And it just happened, and maybe I was posting, people connected, people liked it, and LinkedIn noticed it, and it just came along the way. And then I got this mail from them, like, so kind of, we've chosen you. This, and it was great. So it obviously, see, LinkedIn is an international platform, and you really feel great when you are recognized by anybody, even if it's an Indian platform, international, even a local platform. So you feel, okay, so what you're doing, people are noticing it. But even if this one time happened, I would have still continued what I'm doing on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I would have still shared stuff, same stuff.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of people, they wrote after the list came out that, I did not get Top Voice this time. So this means they were actually doing it for Top Voice only.
Exactly.
So they were posting. So then it just defeats the whole purpose.
It's again back to the topic that we were talking about, true passion. And a recognition does maybe make you work even harder towards it, but you don't really need it for being true to your passion, like you just said.
Yeah. Your self-motivation and your motivation by people around you, I think, is the best. It's I think enough, and that should be something enough for you to actually get working. And if you're really passionate about something, then you'll do it. You are sick, you'll do it. You'll get up in the morning, you'll do late at night. You don't require that, you need that push to do it. You'll do it yourself.
And I think
like you are doing your interviews.
my secret is chai. Just give me enough cups of chai. I'm good.
Okay.
I don't need sleep.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think it also speaks about H2O's culture, where everyone is very warm and very respectful of the work you're doing, and that to an extent they could just give you a thumbs up emoji, and that's
Yes.
it. But they maybe go ahead and really appreciate the work that you're doing, and I think that also is a factor that makes you work harder.
A lot. I think I still remember, and so when I joined the company, I joined on 1st of July, and when my mail went out, so SRK sent the mail. So like it's customary here, like everybody, so person sends out a mail.
We welcome a new team member by introducing them to the entire team.
Yeah. And so I think that happened at about like 11 here Indian time, and I slept after that. So I got up in the morning and I checked. So my email wasn't set up by that time. And so in the morning when I set up everything, I saw people, and there were so many people, there's like welcome to H2O, and there were a few of them who'd written like we follow on LinkedIn, or we've read your blog, and I felt so nice. I said, so this is not even like my first day, and there are people and they've written it so nicely and such nice welcome. I really felt very happy. Maybe I haven't told this to anybody, but that was something, that your first day. And even if I'm sitting here and the people are sitting all over the world and they took out time to actually write and welcome people, that was something which I really found it, I think, over the top maybe. And then there have been such instances which have been happening. People are very encouraging. You write something, say no. I think it's a very great culture here. And so yesterday, that's what I was saying. There have been a lot of things about how you make your culture very warm for people and your employees. And then I just said, like, you don't have to show it, it's kind of inherent. It's in the DNA of a company.
Yep.
So you just can't have a kind of outdoor activity for your employees for one day, and then you say, okay, my company is employee friendly. And then they get back to the team and you say, okay, come on, I want this work by tomorrow morning. So it's something that's inherent in a company. It's in that culture. So I think Maker's culture.
Yeah.
And then you don't need to do all these things. Like, God, our company's taking us to this trip and this and that and that. Even in your normal day-to-day work, such things can be seen easily. And I think it's pretty evident here at H2O.ai.
And I think lingering on to that H2O also lets you to go outside of your work to contribute to the community. H2O really recognizes that you're a huge advocate of women in data science, even though it's not related to our products at all, so to speak, but
Yes.
H2O does recognize your efforts there. And I think it definitely needs that recognition. Could you tell us more about your contributions there? What roles are you working on for women in data science?
So I always have been kind of an advocate for more participation of females. My more emphasis is there should be more like participation, because if the females are not going to participate, I mean, like their voices won't be heard. And so I was just looking of a way in which I could like contribute. But then there are a lot of clubs here which are already established. Okay, and they more or less kind of they work. They're like gender agnostic. So they say that we are open to both the genders, and we just cannot like kind of divide it on that basis. But
Yeah.
my idea was a little different, and then I just saw that Erin, and I had a local chapter here, and then I thought it's a great opportunity. Maybe I could start, but then I thought maybe I'll be able to like take it along. And but I think so. When I read about women MLDS and the kind of work these people were doing all over the world, it just kind of resonated with me. And then yes, in October we launched the chapter. So I was the only person there when I launched it. But then people started adding, and now we have this substantial group here, and we've already organized 3 of our meetups, and we just got to organize the next one on 29th.
Okay.
It's been great. We have only female speakers, and we get speakers internationally also. They connect to us, and it's becoming a great event where people, females, when they come here, not only they learn, but we also encourage them to give presentations and learn things like salary negotiations and stuff like this apart from your normal data science routine, and maybe reskilling and stuff like that. And we are also trying to partner with some government agencies. So they're like they've even provided us, they'll be providing space for kids also. So if there are women who want to come for meetups but they have kids home, and so a lot of women, they leave out on a lot of meetups and social events because there's nobody to take care of their kids. So we're trying to kind of arrange things so they can also get the kids, and the kids will be playing and they'll attend the meetup. So we are targeting in that direction. It just not has to be only data science and ML. This has to be kind of a holistic approach and help in their development and networking, and also data science and machine learning. Maybe they can get together, write some research, do some research papers, and then we also want to collaborate with other companies, and we are working on it. And I could only do this because I came here in H2O and I saw how Erin was working. So Erin actually the founder of 2 groups. So Our Ladies and Women MLDS, and she's doing a wonderful role. And then Women MLDS Paris chapter is, oh my God, it's just so very active, and they get to work with such great people, and they organize sprints for like cyclone sprints and all. So we are also we want to make at least in India with the most active chapter. So that's what are my plans for the future.
And like you said, it's many people miss out on the fact that community efforts, even though we do it for free, you need money and you need some propeller behind it. And I think H2O, at least as a company, really recognizes that fact, and I believe that's also a huge contributor to it.
Yeah. So the first thing that when I actually founded this group and I went on to the Slack, so the first thing that everybody told me was, if you ever require any help, so marketing team came to me, they said, if you require help with respect to the space or any other thing, please feel free to tell us. We'll be more than happy to do that. So that's the first thing. So instead of telling, oh my God, this is not related to our work and all, so this is something that they told us, just tell us if you require help. And it was so welcoming and so great. And you actually feel that people really feel about groups like Women MLDS and women's participation. It's just not for only, like some of the companies just to show, and otherwise it doesn't actually happen. And so that is what. So I want the females to be actually, they don't have to compromise on like their jobs and all. If they're not happy with some job, they just keep doing it, for the sake of it. They feel, look, if we have like 5 to 6 years in this company and it'll be difficult to switch. So I want them, they can reskill themselves, and then maybe they could work from home also, where, they could balance everything. So that is our whole purpose.
Okay. And I know we talked about this offline, but where are we missing? How can we help towards this community? I know on my podcast, and this is what we talked about, I have less than 1/6 women on the interview series, and I know it's a drawback, also something that I'm conscious about, but many people might not even be conscious. But for those who want to make an effort, any best advice is there?
I think what we're really missing out is kind of we don't have much role models, female role models, and it does make a difference because when we see so for me, like as I told you, constantly talk about Erin and then Ingrid. Ingrid is a chief marketing officer at H2R. You look at these women and you really feel like you want to be, or you could learn so much from them. But in this field, I think and that's partly because of the participation factor also. So there's this Kaggle survey that happened last year,
Yeah.
and there was this data. And the sad part about the data was like for, I think, it's just like 16% of females who participated in the survey. Now with that 16% data, you can't actually, the data is itself biased.
Yep.
So we will have to be more participative. We'll have to come out, and we don't have to. So this happens in Kaggle also. Even if you want to form teams, you don't have many females there who are ready
Yep.
to form teams. And so this hurts for others who actually want to do something. And that is why I think, but a lot of groups have come out for this reason only, that I think it is high time now. We have to start focusing on this. And it's not something that it's females are going to get undue advantage of the thing. It's just if you're trying to help them come in the mainstream. And there may be great females who actually, but we don't know where they are. So
Yep.
a lot of problem happens when we search for scout for speakers, and we have such a hard time in finding female speakers. And every time I'm the one who's actually speaking at every event in the city. So we want more females come. We want different ideas to come, and this will start with things like maybe getting more role models into center stage, and then maybe mentorship from them and learning from their journey. How did they make it possible, and how is it even possible for others to do it? Because I think getting married, having kids should not deter anybody from following their dreams.
Yep.
And also we have to look towards how the family will support them, because a lot of support is also required from families. So it kind of has to be collaborative effort, and it definitely it won't change in a day or two, but with the things that are happening, there might be, at least even if there's a delta change, I think that is worth it. And maybe next Kaggle survey, we see some better maybe data. If not 50-50, at least maybe 70-30.
Hopefully. I know you won't mention it, but you created an awesome Kaggle kernel around it. I'll have it in the show notes for the audience that wants to check it out. Please don't be lazy, scroll down and find it in the show notes.
Oh yeah, I think I was actually looking for data, because just to back my whatever I say, I wanted data, and then the Kaggle thing came out, and it was just at the right time that it came. And the first thing that went to my mind was I have to just analyze a subgroup, and I have to analyze how are the females faring so that I can actually present it. So I converted it into a blog post also, that people the situation right now. And even though Kaggle would not reflect the entire data science community, but it kind of gives a hint actually.
Yep. Now, this has been an interview full of many amazing directions. But if you were to give one best advice to someone who's just starting their journey, what would that be?
So my advice would definitely be, firstly, think why you would want to become kind of data scientist, because you could even become a software engineer. You could become a data engineer. So first you have to decide. So if you really like going deep into data, and you like collecting data, and you really like, coming out with like great ideas, then it's good. And then make sure you have a solid background and foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I especially say stats and coding. Don't run away from coding. And coding is such an essential toolkit, even if you're not a data scientist, I still feel, because see, the best part of computer science, which I can easily say now. So I've been an electrical engineer, and a lab used to consist of such big machines.
Yep.
And you had synchronous motors and this and that. And, the whole infrastructure, it could only be afforded by a school or a college.
Yeah.
But for computer science, your lab is your computer. You can take that anywhere. Anybody can do it. No age is required for that. And I think you should really, really focus on coding, and you should, because if you're good at coding, data science also becomes easier, and a lot of things. And you'll also realize maybe you want to create apps and you want to do a lot of things. Unfortunately, a lot of as a way to get IT without working on coding. So this, according to me, it's not the right thought. Maybe have a solid, good, and see, coding is even you have such a lot of resources. You don't have to get enrolled into a program or something. A lot of boot camps out there, and just make your coding really solid.
Yep.
And also do not think, just kind of diving into coding is very helpful in all walks of life, I think. And if you're going to work on your coding stuff, this is going to be really helpful in your longer journey. So it's like, don't run away from coding, don't run away from maths. They're going to help to cement your position as a maybe data scientist.
Awesome. Before we end the call, if you could just mention the platforms where we can follow you. These will be linked, of course, in the description. LinkedIn, we can just look you up on LinkedIn, Parul Pandey. You should be able to find her. Any other platforms that you'd like to mention?
So LinkedIn and Medium, and I've been also working on Kaggle now. Maybe whatever little time I get from my schedule, because I think I did not mention here that I kind of I have kind of divided my day into few parts. So I'm also working from H2OI, then I do Kaggle also, and then I'm also a mother. And so my whole day is kind of revolving around so how do I manage all the three things. And so I try to steal time from here and there to actually do what I like, and then also spend time with my kid. And so this is something that I want to tell to every women out there, and even everybody who we don't get time. It's just about how you manage your time and how you avoid distractions from your life. And then everybody has those 24 hours, and just to make the best use of it. So I, as a full-time role, as a mother, if I'm able to do certain things, I think anybody can do it if I could do it. So that is what I tell everyone. It's just that try removing distractions. I am not on Facebook. I don't watch much of TV. In fact, null. And if I have to do, if I feel that, I need a break, I go and work out, or I go and take a walk. So this actually gives him a lot of time. I'm not on Instagram, not on Facebook. The only social media I'm on is Twitter and LinkedIn. And that also I use it up to a certain limit maybe. So yes, people can follow me on Twitter. They can follow me on LinkedIn, on Medium. And yes, and I think I'm pretty active on all those platforms.
I've always wondered how you do it, but thank you so much, Parul, for all of your contributions to the data science community and women in data science.
I should say the same to you also. Thanks for bringing out such wonderful people and, to our homes through your interviews, and you just get to not only we've seen their work on Kaggle and other platforms, but now we also get to know what kind of people they are, and and most importantly, what through your interviews, what I've learned is human beings, they put in a lot of hard work, and they do with a lot of passion, and they're really devoted to what they're doing. Otherwise, I think everybody's story is the same.
I'm really grateful that people like you keep saying yes for the interviews, but thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to give it a review, or feel free to shoot me a message. You can find all of the social media links in the description. If you like the show, please subscribe and tune in each week to Chai Time Data Science.